Welcome to a special, I'll call it special edition of the Jesse Rucinski Show. Because I'm finally, we've been talking about this for 17 months. And I finally get to do a Wednesdays with Walter, even though, yes, I do realize it's Thursday, but
Thursday.
it wouldn't have made sense for this to finally get off after all these months and anything actually went as planned. And, yeah, let's just
Doesn't
say
help. I live in Michigan. Crap infrastructure.
someone someone was in a shitty situation to say the least. So here we are on Thursday doing the first ever Wednesdays with Walter. Again, wouldn't make sense any other way. Nothing ever works out. Someone has to be flipping me off somewhere and enjoying every second of it. And I'm happy I can make their day and make their life a little brighter. But yeah, more unfiltered. I don't have to be as nice on the Wednesday show. So, granted, I mean, I don't even have to cuss on some of the shows that I do. And Google Podcast puts an E next to all of them. Even on ones where I haven't cussed in months and months and months, and ones you're not on. Even when you're not on it. So I'm not, there's no cussing. E. Like, okay, well, I get it. I was mad a few times, but.
So now our thoughts are explicit. Interesting.
Hey.
Never been categorized like that before.
My thoughts have always been. Yeah. There's some deep, angry stuff in there, but lots of good, shit to cover. Like we talk about all kinds of stuff, but we got a lot of domestic stuff. We got everything that happened in New York City. Still don't understand how it took, 27 hours ish, because it was around 8 o'clock to get the guy. Won't get it, but, it's not my job to get it. But we got stuff that is actually really important, that all these jackasses on the left keep telling me I'm a conspiracy theorist and that we're all need to turn off Fox News. They need to turn off the mainstream media and, I don't know, use the internet. And all you have to go to the Custom and Border Patrol. Go to the CBP website. Yeah, that, believe it or not, whatever you hear on the media, the numbers are actually there. So you'll actually
like I did.
You'll actually
needed some information when we were talking yesterday.
But we got drugs, everything with the border. We got inflation, ghost guns and mass shootings. Just the gun thing in general and all the chicanery. I think that's the best word for it. All the chicanery going on. If you actually look at the real numbers, I mean, a quick shout out to the world. More people beat people to death with their knees, fists, elbows, heads, than actually use rifles to murder anyone. Like, people beat people to death more often than, rifles are used in the same situation. So, which I still love that number. More people get beaten to death than, with people like literally just punching them in the face repeatedly to kill them than people do anything with shotguns. So I just laugh every time. It's not like it's funny, but I mean, that kills the whole thing right in a way. But I guess we could start off with Walter's feelings about the border, just everything in general, before we start ripping some stats for some people.
Well, I'm kind of glad you said that. We're talking about borders. I first want to start by saying, do your research, as you were just saying, get on the computer and go to Googly. It's not that hard to come up with a list similar to this one that shows all the countries and tells you what regional continent they fall in. Boom. So, because we're talking about borders, I want to start by saying, when you look at our paperwork here and you look for the United States, right? Go down, you go all the way North America. And that's just going to put you on this sheet. All right. You got North America. There's 2 countries listed for North America. It's Canada and the US.
Fact.
All the rest of the countries between the US and South America are considered Latin America. Those are the only 2 regions on our continent. When it comes to borders and security and boots on the ground, the only place it should ever happen outside of an actual combat scenario, a combat zone, should be in one of those two countries in the northern region, or any of those 1, 2, 3, 4,
1, 2, skip a few, 99.
roughly 15 or 20 countries, I think it is.
There's a million little ones, throughout
Yeah.
the whole entire
I
thing.
think it's 29. So no, 33. Sorry. So you got 33 countries of the 35 that are in Latin America. You go down there, those are the only 35 countries that should ever see U.S. boots on the ground. Like I said, minus the combat zone. When I'm looking at this and I'm seeing us worry more about borders, not necessarily even in reference to Ukraine, just in general, borders, about any other country other than ours first, is a problematic. And everybody says that from this news station to that news station, whether their motives are good or bad. They say that. I feel like if you were to look at this actual list, though, between these 35 countries, we shouldn't have to worry about trade outside of our region, our zone, to suffice. We shouldn't have to worry about other trade outside our countries to live and eat, to sustain. That should not have to happen. When I look at these things, it pisses me off a little bit.
No, I don't.
I think, like we were talking about the other day when we were bullshitting, you have Mexico, right? Well, that's not the end of North America. You got to go all the way down the other side of the canal to the bottom side of Panama. You go to the bottom side of Panama, that's where the first wall should have started.
Panama.
Just my personal opinion. Sorry.
Hey, yeah, I mean, I think,
because literally this speech right here from Mr. Reagan will be the same speech we'll be having in 15 years, because the way it's going right now, we're going to end up building that wall all the way across the southern border. There's no option to it. I got a feeling at some point, one of them 5 fucking states down there are going to get so mad, they're going to say, we're not letting people in anymore.
Yeah,
and when that comes to that, you're going to hear someone speak in something echoing similar to what Mr. Reagan said in, what year was that? 1987, roughly a month and a week before I was born.
Vaguely.
This is one sign, quoting him, this is one sign that Soviets can make the world, that the world would be considered unmistakable with, that would advance dramatically because of the freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. End quote. That's Ronald Reagan. We will be having a similar speech at our southern border because our people can't get our heads out of our asses, and we're going to screw up our trade with Mexico. Well, even though I don't like it, our government has allowed certain automakers to take their business and take a majority of it to Mexico.
Yeah, and the best part is they're like judging all these people for all their, how much they don't pay in taxes. Like, you're the ones that literally let them ship their stuff down there for cheaper labor to cost us American jobs and give them tax breaks.
Exactly.
Just saying, like, you're the reason that I'm not going to get into that acronym.
And the other thing of it is
5-letter acronym.
We were talking about monies and populations a while back. You and I were.
Yep.
So here's the United States. All right. We obviously we're the biggest economy GDP wise. And as of 2017, we had a 19.4. This was the newest information I could pile with all the stuff that I needed on to have this conversation. So sorry for the age of it.
Some of the stuff
they don't
even put out for years.
Yeah.
That's just stupid.
So we had the highest economy in that year at 19.48. The next closest one was China at 12.2. I'll tell you right now, the only goal of China is to shut us down, make us a lower economy than them. If they continue the way they're going and
they want to take over the world. We all know it.
Lackadaisic government.
Anyone with a brain knows it.
Yeah. But if our lackadaisic government continues down the road they're going down, they're going to push us into the hands of them running the world. The second part of this is I want to talk about Saudi Arabia. This goes into the whole border thing, because if we had a secure border and we were pumping our own fuel, pumping our own oil and our own natural gas, primarily, this list wouldn't mean a damn thing in regards to this conversation.
And by the way, liberals, I know that you're all, any crazies on the left, if you're listening, I don't blink anyone is, but believe it or not, when all the White House keeps saying and all the media keeps parroting the phrase, there are 9,000 land leases for drilling, but they never can tell you how many people are actually have approved permits to drill. You can have all the land leases you want. If you don't actually give them the permit to actually drill on the land, it doesn't matter how many leases you have. How many of them did you give permits to actually drill and actually, do that to get all the stuff out? Why you can tote all you want that you have a million land leases.
I could probably ship 500 land leases tomorrow for natural gas in the state of Michigan.
They could never, but they'd never tell you like the numbers of permits. Want to know why? Because there aren't that many of them.
But that don't mean a damn thing on getting a permit to pump oil or natural gas. That doesn't mean a damn thing on whether that particular location is going to pump oil or gas. And that's another thing that people don't consider. And that really starting to bother me because
like it's very obvious.
Like I had this conversation yesterday about racing with somebody. I can't remember who I had it with. I think it might have been Austin. Anyways, you take racing and then you take that and you set them next to each other. Okay. Here I am. I got 100 million. I can take and put 20 million into a decent NASCAR Cup team and run that all year round. Or I could take that same 20 million and sink it into an oil drilling well. Well, on one rig, one location. That one's ends up not shooting oil or gas out. I'm shit out of luck. Just lost $20 million.
Yep.
Put $20 million in that NASCAR team. I'm probably gonna either lose between a negative 5 million and gain up to a positive 20 million. I'm going to get something back and not guaranteed loss. Whereas with the well, it's almost way less of a chance I'm getting something out of it.
But anyway,
just saying. Anyone with money.
Just wanted to throw it out there. Back to Saudi Arabia. And
yeah. Okay. So that's where I was getting at. Gotta find them on my list again. So they had a small economy compared to us, one, which is obvious. But my thing is they were small enough. There's Saudi Arabia right there.
Gotta watch out for them too.
They're running on a $687 billion GDP. That's as of 2017. But their growth rate is stagnant, which means with no assistance from anyone else, they're pretty much staying afloat and even. Yeah. They're not losing, but they're not really gaining. So then you go to the UAE right here. They're running on a $383 billion budget at a little bit less than a 1% growth yearly. And the thing that cracks me up the most is if you look at Saudi Arabia, they're only $20,000 a year, $21,000 a year roughly per capita of wages. UAE is roughly $40,325 per year per capita. Problem with that is you look at where it is, I just seen it. I just had it my finger on it right there. They're only running on a $353 billion budget at 42.8 per capita. All right. Now keep in mind, all the numbers is wrote off for per capita yearly wages. I want to read the US to you. Our per capita ratio is 60,000 a year per person. We're running at on 20. I think now it's roughly a $21 budget, but this year in this paperwork is 19.4. But a majority of our people live a shittier life than most of the people in those other countries I just listed. Those places, the only key up they have on us is they're producing crude oil.
Like that's the whole.
And they're telling our government, which is 25 to 50 times the size of theirs, go fly a kite. Don't care.
Out in sand. Like I just know that it's a really bad sign. Like all you people out there, I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's a really bad sign when the president of the United States calls someone and they flat out refuse to even pick up the
They
phone.
outright got the cold shoulder.
Like, yeah, what? Like, not even, they're not even entertaining talking to the man. Like, they went from sitting down with Trump, people and him getting people in the same room, yeah, that have wanted to kill each other for a very long time and shaking hands and signing any sort of anything. And in less than a year, we've now fallen so good that they won't even.
Well, that's an example, Ski, right there.
And talk.
You just said it. That is the perfect example for what we're talking about when it comes to the border. You got Israel, UAE, and Saudi Arabia all right there doing business with each other, protecting each other. And if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure there's some treaties that are out now with Jordan, even from Israel.
Just saying, son. It's really.
I mean, if I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure there's 2 treaties for Jordan and Israel too. And it's one of those things where it brings up the fact that if those countries over there, which are ideologically completely different,
couldn't be any more if they tried.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's no more further distance between the Israeli communities and the legit Arab Muslim communities. That
whole different ball game, mentality, everything.
And yet they come together and they agree with each other on Russia. They agree with each other on Iran. They got their shit together. They're working with their neighbors over there. Why in the hell is it so hard for us to work with 35? Well, no, if we want to, so 34 other people. They are all within 2,500 miles of any location in the U.S. pretty much. Why can't we?
Because
get our cotton straightened out and fix our borders.
It's run by pussies and
say it. No, say the word. I'll say it for you.
People, I mean, it's run by corrupt, useless, bureaucratic, self-entitled, progressive, communist.
I can't even call them liberals no more. I can't call them moderates. I'm calling them communists. It hurts to even call them a liberal.
Get it right. They're democratic socialists, which is.
I forgot.
If you look at democratic socialism and you put communism next to each other, there's not really any differences. And again, the people over there that we were talking about with borders, yeah, they have them. We don't, and everyone keeps getting all shitty. But here's some numbers for all you boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all ages. 2018, we had 521,090 people, encounters at the border. Worst month was May, which, that's always, right around the worst month of the year. That's when it all kicks back off normally. But worst month was May at 51,862, and we averaged 43,424 people a month. 2019, we jumped up to 977,509 people. The worst month was May again at 144,116, averaged, just under 76.4 thousand people a month. 76,393. 2020 again, COVID, but they had Title 42, like they did a bunch of things for health stuff on top of it, and a lot of things went in, like there was a lot of policies that went into effect there that they were working on forever because the commies kept fighting him and throwing him into court. But we were down to 458,088. Worst month was September that time. Again, all the COVID stuff was lowering down, but 57,674 was the worst month of September, and they averaged 38,182 a month. Want to hear the good one? Everyone says, I'm crazy. There's no problem. 2021 fiscal year, everyone. So October to, whatever. 1,734,686 with the worst month coming at a whopping 213,593 in July, averaging 144,557 people a month, which is damn near over all of the other averages combined. And then Trump's total last year's, though, his last three, 1,956,687. Biden's first year, 1,734,686. There's only 222,001 difference between Trump's last 3 years combined and Biden's first year. And so far in fiscal year 22, October had 187,000, just over.
November, they already said that.
Yeah, November's just under 199,000. December was almost 206,000. January, just under 187,000. Somehow they don't have the numbers like we're at, I don't get February, again, just under 190,000, but we're already just under 1 million people. And that's without March, which hasn't been released, which is terrifying because I don't know if anyone knows this or not, but we're halfway through April. I'm pretty sure like what the computer like tabulates. They have a big national thing for all of them where they go together and tell you how many there are. They just don't like to tell you anything, just like there's a bunch of numbers from 2021 that they still haven't released, even though it's the middle of April. And I know you guys aren't like not releasing it for because you can't because you don't have it. What you have it, it's kind of like inflation numbers or the jobs numbers, and we're all going like
people obviously doing the border numbers are obviously in cahoots or work with the people that run the headquarters of Twitter.
Or they're or they're just or they're like VA doctors here in Jacksonville. There's like 3 primary care doctors and like thousands of patients they have to deal with. It's just, I mean, averaging 144,500 a month. That's a lot.
And the other part about that is if you take those numbers and you compile them and you start comparing them and just doing a year over year ratios, if you go back to 2020 and compare that to 2019, then 2021 to 2020, and then 2022 to 2021, you're going to see an increase every single time. And we're not talking a 10 or 5% increase. We're talking anywhere from double digits to triple digit increases.
We damn near quadrupled from 2020 to 2021. Even I don't give a shit if you don't like it.
I understood the gentleman from the border the other day down there in Del Rio, he said,
can't tell you his name, but I like that guy.
He said that he felt comfortable saying we're going to be almost at a 200% increase March this year over last year. Yeah, and then that's before in May when our favorite thing ends, Title 42. And then that brings up to my next question. What are they going to do about diseases? Because Title 42 didn't just cover
but
COVID. It covered malaria, measles.
Did it? But really, I mean,
think about it. You start letting just a free flow from all of if you want to be honest, Ski, most of the countries down there are third world.
I know. Like
you start going through them
from third world shitholes. Guess what? You're picking up all kinds of stuff. You already don't have the greatest hygiene down there, or food, sanitation, but. See, there we go. That's a sentence. Comma in there somewhere. I don't know. But with the 1.7 million people, especially when it was during full-fledged COVID still, and they had the pictures from the facilities and stuff where they were at 200+% capacity, like they haven't, like during COVID, coming from these shitholes, you're not testing them, you're not making them get vaccinated, then you're sending them wherever the hell they want to go after 2 or 3 days. Like if COVID was actually like as big a deal as all these cocksuckers keep making it out to be, we would not like this. That wouldn't have happened at the border. Like when they're going after us, but you could just cram them in there like sardines and then ship them wherever the hell they want to go, regardless of vaccination status or anything, to never hear from them again while we're paying for it all. Goddamn, I'm going to get into that one later, so don't let me start.
Well, my thing that I'm worried about, this is what I'm truly worried about.
They don't care. Like they just don't.
They don't.
Shit.
They don't care the slightest bit. And the problem that's really going to spark the biggest issue of our border ever is in the beginning of June, after a week or two of that being gone for completely gone. You will see one of two things. You'll either see our country collapse as a border down there, or you're going to see the largest mass murdering event ever.
You're going to see a lot of, you're going to see
mass
really
graves
bad things
all along that border, because any honest human that lives in America that believes in the American experiment is what I'm going to call it, because truthfully, that's what our country is and always will be to the day it's gone. A democracy and an experiment.
Yeah.
With that being said,
a very large experiment.
There's a lot of people down south that believe in protecting their home and their family and their state, their country, and their God.
Oh, they're really over.
If you think you're going to let over 150 countries, I know it's a lot more than that, but you're going to let over 150 countries come through that southern border, to now include Ukrainians, as of what I seen last night on TV.
They've been there for a few weeks coming through.
They're going to find that there's going to be a lot of honest, God-fearing people on the southern side of this country become honest, God-fearing country protecting people.
Yeah, it's already pushed to that. I mean, it's already pushed like to the brink, like last year. I mean, it was always a
That's
problem.
what I'm saying. You're there already at that
Yeah.
line, knocking on
Yeah.
it, saying, "Hey,
we went over the line a long time ago, and they're still like, we don't want to do anything. It's amazing.
My fear though is how many people are going to die next year
It's amazing
by the end of this year.
how many billions they can find for for museums or giving other countries money, but somehow they couldn't, money that they, when they went and built that wall around, Biden's property up there after, thanks taxpayer dollars, they could find all the money for everything, but somehow
Well, that's the other thing.
$5 billion that was already allocated, everything's bought, just sitting there. They're like, no, well, they sorry.
I feel like any
you're not
American
building it.
veteran
What the brain
that says we want a border at our southern border of our country, but we can't have it, should have the absolute God-given and country-given right to walk up to Joe Biden's wall and knock the fucker down.
Yeah, but I do give
I'm not saying go there, commit a crime.
No.
I'm not saying it like, I'm just saying though, if they're going to have that standard, then the American veterans group, the group of American veterans as a whole, should be able to turn around and say, okay, well, our standard is this. If we can't have a border for our country, you can't have a border for your house.
Yeah, but again, it's the elitist thing. That's all.
I know.
Just like Zuckerberg, giving all this money. We don't need a wall, but yet
Oh shit. We're going to talk about elitists. We might as well do this.
That I'm just saying, he's just another one that pushes it. Walls. We don't need a wall at the border. Like, dude, you just built a giant wall around your palace that you bought out in Hawaii, which now blocks the views of all the regular people that have lived there forever, to keep them so they can't enjoy anything, and it's all yours, so they can't get to you. But the country itself is racist if they do the same exact thing. I mean, the numbers, again, they don't lie. 2020, there's only 646,822 total encounters. Last year, there's 1.9 million, and we're up to already, probably by the time I say this, because the numbers haven't released, we're already up over 1 million, like this year. Like, sorry guys, like, if you have your walls because they protect you, and you can have armed guards protecting you at the taxpayer dollar, but you say we shouldn't be able to have guns to protect ourselves, like, you are proving exactly why we
need guns.
Why we formed the country in the first place, to get away from the crazy oligarchs over there. And because we were like, yep, nope, I reckon I've had about enough of this shit. And
my problem with it,
Greg Abbott though. Greg Abbott did say, like, he's contemplating standing up every National Guardsman and everything else to get on the border, to not let them. I heard him talk about to not let them come in.
Well, that's the thing.
He sent a second bus to DC.
You just said what I was going to say. So yesterday, Tucker Carlson, I love Tucker. Anyone that knows me well knows that. But last night, I wanted to drive to Maine and slap Tucker in the face.
We all have those feelings with him from time to time.
I understand he's as pissed off as I am, because there is not a line of National Guard standing at our southern border. We have enough jack wagons that waste time and money all year long, every single freaking year, in the National Guard. That's what they are, a waste of money. Take that waste of money, take 10% of your force from every single state in the United States, and ship them to the southern border. And then you don't put Texas in charge of them. You don't put New Mexico. You don't put Arizona. You don't put California. There's one more state down there. I'm missing them.
Let's keep going.
New Mexico. You don't put those 5 states in control. You don't put them in control of all of the National Guard. You take a Marine Corps commander that has nothing to do with any of those states and nothing to do with the National Guard, and you have him control the border control fleet. That's what you call them people. All those people from the National Guard you send down there, it's a border control fleet. Give them a fancy patch, make them feel good about themselves, and then tell them, guess what? Now we're really going to make you work. Get your happy ass out there. Every one of you is responsible for 10 feet of space width-wise. 5 feet to your left, 5 feet to your right. Go stand on line. Take a pouch, take your tent, take your little bivy sack, because you're going to need it, because you're going to stay out there. And you're going to stay there till there's a wall built. The whole point of a wall, which is something I've heard the argument over and over, it goes this way, it goes that way. The whole freaking point of a damn wall is not to stop border invasions, is to help border control, patrol, and funnel the illegal jackwagon to a point to make it easier to maintain control.
Yeah,
it will never control the border.
I must.
Sorry, that's something that pisses me off.
I must say, all you people that say we're racist, well, there's the numbers right there to keep prevents disease. Or how about these numbers? This is good. Here's
real racist when we really do care about.
Yeah, when we actually, what I actually want people to get out of those shitholes and come here, but I don't think they should,
alive and not hurt,
not controlled by the cartels giving them money just to get them here, like
raping kids and women.
It's very dehumanizing everything that they're letting happen right now, as well as here's another good one though: drug seizures, marijuana. 2019, 556,000 pounds. 2020, 582,000. 2021, it thankfully did go down to 319,000, but other things went up. And so far, 67, K has, been seized. Methamphetamine. I'm going to do this like Brett Baer and just round up because it's easier. 2019, 142,000. 2020, 178,000. But no, that's not a shout out to Brett Baer because there's just something about him. I just look at him. It's just.
He's a machine.
Yes, he's a robot. Not in a bad way, but but
he's funny.
Anyway, methamphetamine again though, from 2020 to 2021 went from 178,000 to 191,000 pounds, and then so far we're already up to 78,000. Cocaine went from 2019 101,000, 2020 went down to 58,000, 2021 bumped back up to 98,000. So far we're at 24. Fentanyl in 2019 was just under 3,000. 2020 jumped up to just under 4,800. Yeah, 2,800, 4,800. 2021 it over doubled and went to just over 11,000, and we're already up to 4.2 thousand. Is
that pounds or kilos?
Pounds.
You know how much that? You know how many people that would kill?
Yeah, millions.
11,000 pounds.
That would get over doubled from 2020 to 2021, and it's already almost made it halfway from the last time they released numbers.
I don't they enlist China to do us a favor.
Yeah. Heroin 2019 was at 6,200. 2020 is 5,800. 2021 5,400, and so far in 2022, that's way down. It was only 709 from the numbers. That again, these aren't like yesterday's numbers, but
they ain't catching it no more.
Yeah, they're all higher up. Well, that's because they're dealing with 100 million people every day,
exactly,
every month. But
that's the only reason why they're going to say, "Oh, the border numbers are going down for this, this, and this." Oh yeah, but what's the people numbers doing?
It's over double for fentanyl. Just saying. Other drugs in 2020 was at 74,000, and we're at 26,000. Again, there's just so much to try to catch. And then overdose. Here's the big one: 2020, when we went into super lockdown in a lot of states. Yeah, and don't worry, all the ratings have come out. Thank you, blue states, for proving all of us right after you called him, Ron Death Santis. Because but guess what? His numbers are better than anyone that did complete lockdowns. Why? Because it didn't make a damn difference. And look how many old people and seniors he has living in Florida. There's a lot of them. Retirement capital of the country, damn near. But anyway, we only had 78,056 overdose deaths in 2020. And then in 2021, here's the proofs, my point again, that there's a problem. We jumped up to 100,306 overdose deaths. We hit six figures for the first time ever. And it was up 28.5% from, again, the year when everyone was on, a lot of people were mostly on lockdown, couldn't go anywhere, lots of isolation, all kinds of problems went up, and it still found a way to jump over 22,000 people the first year under Joe, because, over double the amount of fentanyl came in, and cocaine and meth went up. And that's just the stuff that they caught, because again, it's easy to sneak all that stuff through when you're sending mobs of thousands here that they have to deal with. No one's a mile or two down there, and they're just driving right in, and no one will know, which is why you need it, because then there's only one way for them to get in, and they were digging it so far down that guess what? No one's going to have putting it 10, 20, 100 feet down, whatever it was, into the ground. No one's digging a tunnel that deep underneath the ground, so it stops a lot of that. I mean, there's always going to be regions where there's problems, but you put a border wall.
Only person going more than 20 or 30 foot below ground when it comes to tunnels is Elon Musk.
Yeah, I'm just there's.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just it funnels everyone to where again, obviously there's levees, there's water, there's all kinds of things that you physically cannot build a wall, and that's where you just put whatever you want to call it. You can
either put barbed wire up for deterrence, or you can throw 5 guards on each side. There you go.
Say that, and you could put border patrol buildings right there,
you know what?
to be a choke point for those, but they're coming through water, like real waterways. Like there's not going to be a lot of people going there, and it forces everyone, to include the drugs, to pretty much have to go through a
It isn't going to
checkpoint.
help us for this show, but I am going to send you a picture. And if you want to show it in another show later on, that's fine. You can for a follow up, whatever.
I'm just saying, like,
We need, and I never thought I would say this, but it's the only thing I'll ever say this on when it comes to this country. This is the one thing we need to emulate Iran on. If you look at a topographical map of Iran, zoom in to roughly 500 feet above ground, that should put you at a 1 inch, 2 mile scaling for people who understand maps. That their border, as much as I hate Iran, they have a right idea when it comes to border security.
State sponsored, large.
I think it's every 5 or 7 miles or kilometers. Sorry, every 5 or 7 kilometers. They have. You ever been by an older prison with the cement guard towers, the round guard towers out there? Iran got those every 5 to 7 kilometers, all the way along their damn border. Okay, we got a road that goes all the way along our border, even including up into the mountains and shit. You're telling me you can't, in a 10-foot by 10-foot wide space, build a tower right there and have 5 guards use that as their home base? Then once a week they go down and do a head shed meeting at the local county outpost. I feel like I just built your whole border security right there. Boom, one sentence.
Not all it is, so. And you know, I mean, it
It's
really
not
is.
difficult.
It really is an easy fix if you just like gave a damn. And if people on their side weren't so brainwashed by all the media over there saying that we're just crazy white supremacists, it's like, nah, I just want them to do it. My ancestors and a lot of people's ancestors had to do it. Do it right. It might be a long process. Guess what? It's a long.
And do it right the first time.
It's a long process everywhere.
And we'll save money.
Yeah, they'll save billions like right now. But anyway, but again, that's driving inflation.
Well,
but
you talk about numbers because you're talking about inflation. Let's go back.
I'm not getting there
at
yet,
the beginning of the? No, I'm just saying you said inflation. On me. Think of this. How much did this border wall originally have a proposed cost of? What was it, like $5.7 billion originally?
Something around there, a little over, I think.
Okay, let's just say $5.5 billion for sake of conversation.
If they didn't fight them for 2 or 3 years, it'd be done. But
so you had a $5.5 billion price tag on this border wall. How much money a day do we spend on babysitting housing for illegal immigrants? And I don't care what anyone says. It's exactly what the hell they are. They came here illegally to this country, an illegal immigrant.
They came. That's what, you know, what happens when you step over into another country without the proper paperwork or anything, or letting it. Guess what? They'd throw our ass in jail. They wouldn't say, here's a hotel room, here's food, here's a bus or plane
depending on what
ticket.
country is, they might shoot us.
Here's a bus or a plane ticket. Here's a smartphone so we can track you. Like, oh, and the taxpayers dime. Peace. Yeah, like, guess what? That was a peace, people, as you only saw that one. There's a peace sign right there. But yeah, which is just driving up a lot of things, and it's more money than they spend on, I don't know, veterans. You know, we're only losing 22.
Don't even get me started.
Hey, I'm just saying. But here's the good one. To go farther along, because again, I like numbers as to, you know, I want you to see if you can catch the trend that's happening when I start talking. Okay, U.S. Border Patrol criminal non-citizen arrests by year. See if you catch this trend. 2016, 12,842. 2017, 8,531. 2018, 6,698. 2019, 4,269. 2020, 2,438. 2021, 10,763. And we're already up to 3,662 in 2022 from just the stuff they reported. So yes, Biden's last year, 12,842, all the way down to, you know, Trump's last year. We're down to, you know, 2,400. We went from 12,800 to 2,400, and then Biden's first year was right back up to just under 11,000. I can never imagine.
All you gotta do is
I never imagine
all
why.
the charades.
I never imagine why those. Oh, like it just keeps. Hold on, it gets. Yeah, here we go. Like,
Biden.
Tell you, there's a great trend with it all. Let's see, conviction type. per year. Assault, let's see, assault, battery, and domestic violence. Fiscal year 16, 1,007. Fiscal year 17, 692. Fiscal year 18, 524. Fiscal year 19, 299. Fiscal year 20, 208. Fiscal year 21, 1,178. We're already up to 392 reported for this fiscal year. Burglary, robbery, larceny, theft, and fraud. 16 had 825. Then fiscal year 17, 595. Fiscal year 18, 347. Fiscal year 19, 184. Fiscal year 20, 143. Fiscal year 21, 825. And we're already up to 319 DUIs. In 16 was 2,458. Fiscal year 17, 1,596. Fiscal year 18, 1,113. 19 had 614. 20 had 364. Fiscal year 2021, 1,629. 22 we're already up to 457. Homicide, manslaughter. Like I told you, I wrote down all the good stuff on this one because it pisses me off and it proves my point. For homicide, manslaughter, fiscal year 16 had 8, 17 had 3, 18 had 3, 19 had 2. Fiscal year 2020 had 3 again. Fiscal year 2021. For homicide and manslaughter, we went from like 3 to 60. And we're already up to 25 and 22. Drug possession, trafficking. 16 had 1,797. 17 had 1,249. 18 had 871. 19 had 449. 20 had 386. Fiscal year 2021, 2,138. And we're already up to 754. Illegal entry and re-entry. 16, 7,060. 17, 4,502. 18, 3,920. 19, 2,663. 20, 1,261. Fiscal year 2021, 6,160. And we're already up to 2026. Illegal weapons possession, transport, and trafficking, which, kills people, cartel stuff. Yeah. That good stuff, gun trafficking, all that, things that they say they care so much about, that, Biden's speech about, those guns. I know we're getting into it, but amazing they don't talk about these. Fiscal year 16, 237. 17 had 173. 18 had 106. 19 had 66. 20 had 49. 2021, 336. And we're already up to 102. Sexual offenders. Here's sex offenses. Here's the one that, pisses everyone off. 16 had 155, 17, 137, 18 was down to 80, 19 was down to 58, 20 went up to 156. Again, COVID lockdown, that year, but which is disgusting, at least, but
well,
it was still down. 2021 was up to 488. They tripled the last year that he was vice president, and then we're up to 116 now, and then other crimes. This is the last one. Fiscal year 16 had 2,554. 17 had 1,851. 19 had 1,364. That was 18. 19 had 814. 2020 had 580. Fiscal year 21 was back up 2,691. And we're already up to 981. Guess what, people? You open the border and let millions more people in one. And the numbers have all well more than doubled. They've gone up 5, 6, 7, 10 times in almost.
So this conversation,
literally right, homicide and manslaughter, literally multiplied by 20 times from fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 21. By 20 times.
You have two contributing denominators here. And this was brought up a couple weeks ago on, remember I was telling you about watching TV news shows on TBN because certain Israel stuff you can only get on TBN. Well,
that water's still that cold.
Eric Stackelbach, I think that's how you pronounce it, Stackelbeck. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. He made the comment referencing to what you and I are talking about right now. And to a degree, so I agree with, just he worded it differently. But the two contributing denominators there is you have Trump and then you have O'Biden. And when I say O'Biden, I say it because literally Obama and Biden's policies and ways of doing things are exactly the same. One's just worse than the other because one came after the other. Now, with that being said, when Trump was in office, and I have heard a lot of people say this, Russia touched nobody. When Bush was in office, he invaded under Clinton too, didn't he?
Yeah, that's where he got his first.
That was the first one. Yeah. So So it went to Clinton, to Bush, to Obama twice, nothing under Trump, and now back under Biden. Again, he's invaded. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
That was 97 or 99 or something when he got checked.
Yeah, so this is the fifth or sixth time he's invaded another neighboring country, a sovereign country, with no justification.
Now, granted, I mean, there's all kinds of craziness going on. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to hear the way out there, lunatic, he's glued to the wall type crazy thoughts, yeah, then he's in the right. But
yeah, like, I mean, there's no matter what. I mean, innocent people are dying, and that's really my stance on it for like nothing.
He finally did come out, by the way. Speaking of him saying that, his numbers he released the other day, I was shocked he released numbers that high, being that honest.
Hey,
I'm shocked he was that honest. Putin was.
But yeah, like all of that, and really just the moral of it all is that doesn't make all of this, like between that, crimes, drugs, people, like all of that is exploding, which is why it's not a conspiracy theory. It's not racist banter. It's for real. It's for very, very, very real. And that's why we shouldn't just let whoever the hell come in, and we should finish the border wall, because then people actually have to do the paperwork to try to get in here and do it properly, like immigrants have done for decades in this country. Go there, do the proper paperwork, get over here. You're welcome. Go through the hard work. You shouldn't just be come one, come all from your third world shitholes, and the taxpayers will, take care of you because, with printed money, which, by the way, as we're here now, when it keep, that's why we have record inflation.
And because we're talking about this, and this all involves our border, I wanted to bring this up, and it has something to do with what you and I were talking about the other day about Russia stuff. Latin America, there's 2 countries in Latin America that voted against throwing Russia out of the Human Rights Council. I want you to guess who those 2 countries in Latin America were.
Venezuela has to be one of them, because
they're in South America, though.
Well, Central. I just know they were one of the ones that I know they.
Cuba.
Oh yeah, well, the crazy communist.
And Nicaragua.
I think that's how he said it. And well, that doesn't surprise me. Again, there was a lot of them down there. Like you could see all the
those 2 voted outright against throwing them out. They didn't abstain. They voted against.
Yeah, and again, it's the ones that we can all think of really quick. Like we all.
Well, it's really easy.
You think of corruption.
If I was the U.S. president and I seen this on the news, this picture right here, I would go just like this. Yo, numbnuts Millie.
Bye-bye.
We're done. Don't help Cuba anymore.
Yeah.
Yo, or what is it called? The security people at the airports, TSA, the head of TSA. Hey, no more in and outies for Cuba. Fuck them.
Sorry, you guys are back to no. Sorry,
boom, problem solved.
You're back. You're going to go back to an embargo. So all this new economy you're getting, it's all going to go away. And you're going to go back to
Nicaragua.
You're going to go to a third world dump.
Speaking of them, I'm kind of curious now.
Well, Nicaragua. I just got that from How I Met Your Mother. People, don't go after me. Blame Barney before he became Barney. He became Barney because of that. When you think about it, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here's Cuba. So let's do that one first. Cuba. Yeah, Cuba. They have a population of 11,326,616 as of 2020. Okay. Their numbers in comparison to the other one, if I can find them. Oh, there we go. Let's say your other one. That's a good example. Venezuela. Venezuela and Russia are like this when it comes to anything that makes money.
Hey, the Maduros, man. The Maduros, they shouldn't even be giving them money. We know exactly what they are.
They have more than double the people of Cuba. They all think pretty well the same way, minus the few that are probably in Cuba that own businesses that probably make a shit ton of money off of tourism from America. Those guys are probably like, hey, let's not piss them off. Outside that group, they don't care.
the guys in
But you start going
Venezuela
to these countries like them, they have
criminal
11 million
enterprise.
people there. I'm trying to find where I had the other sheet with their finances here.
Can we just remember that how Venezuela, I think, was like what the fourth richest country on the planet when it came to, oil and energy and all that. They were shooting, and then they went socialist, and now like they're shooting their own
Yep.
people, and people are starving to death because the whole country collapsed because they
We
always
can't make it. There's just
it's non-sustainable. The elitists have everything, and then no one else gets anything in the whole entire like ball of wax.
when you shit on everyone, I mean, you can't.
Yeah, but they went from being very rich to being one of the poorest countries on the planet.
They were very rich.
They had all that energy. What? And I mean, this is like, and somehow people are saying,
In fact, I'm this far back on that list.
we need to get rid of this. Like, yeah, like we need to get, like, we need to be like socialist. Why? Like, do you pay attention, like, to history?
Yeah, really need to do that, don't we?
Or some of our neighboring countries, like, what? They've collapsed. But it normally doesn't.
You keep going. I'm trying to find that paper. I'll start
Work.
talking. Find it.
Well, I know, but yeah, like, it's just their hostile regime, and now we're begging them to help us out because
Yeah. It's just another example, like the UAE and Saudi Arabia when it comes to calling them. We should not be reaching out to these little countries who are going out of their way, like the Latin American countries, to let people get through their countries in an illegal manner, to proceed coming illegally to the U.S. My thing is Mexico has a Mexican Marine outfit. You're telling me your Mexican Marines can't stand at that border and do something? You're telling me those Mexican Marines can't pile up their trucks there and go, you ain't getting through, you jackwagons? No, they can. But because of the oligarchs and the cartels and the terrorists, they
cartels
run
around the country.
Mexico.
Yeah, cartels around the country.
If Trump just happens to be cartels, look, this is how it's going to work. You're going to keep people in your country. They're not coming here. We'll help you, but you will do what we're saying, or we done helping you.
Yeah, as it should be. Sorry.
And it bothers me because here we're sitting here having these, we shouldn't even be able to have these conversations right now about these kind of numbers, this kind of money, these kind of immigrants. We should not be able to have this conversation. Here we are.
We shouldn't have to.
Trying to figure it out.
And again, all of that, again, I'm trying to stall before I hit it, but caused a bunch of inflation, like all the money we're spending on them because we're printing money. 2020, I mean, granted, the first round is like stimulus money and all that, like there was so much waste in it that shouldn't have been spent, like hundreds of millions.
Oh
like,
yeah, that was ridiculous.
The Kennedy Center, all that, like, give us money, see you later, bye.
Yeah. Why do they need 400 million for the Kennedy Center when they're doing
twice? Why then? And then they got money again in the second round, and like they don't need $600 million, like. And
they say I'm a horrible person.
But yeah, but and again, so the stimulus spent like that caused it, but look how much more they spent after he was gone. They just passed what $1.9 trillion worth of idiocy. And like that's causing inflation, and people yell at me about inflation, that told me that I was, again, normally it's crazy right-wing banter, because we said it was a bad thing. First, they told us it was a conspiracy theory and it wasn't real. Then it was transitory. Then it was a good thing. Then it was because we were buying things. Then it was Trump's fault. And, now they're blaming Putin. It's like, you do realize the rate was okay. See, because I love it. 2016, 2.1%. Stayed the same for 2017. 2018, it was down to 1.9. 2019, up to 2.3. 2020, down to 1.4. 2021, 7%. And as of the number I believe I saw yesterday when they released it, it's up at 8.5 right now and climbing. And so, guys, it went from 1.4 to like 7.4 in 1 year under him. And I hate to break it to everybody, yesterday was the 7th week of the war. So if you do the math, our inflation rate was up 6% before Putin got anywhere near the Ukrainian border.
That's the other thing.
Just like gas prices.
Look at those numbers, they didn't go like this. And then
that was straight
I'm
up.
Sorry, they call that a consistent hill climb.
That was straight up. Straight out of Compton. And just like gas, again, as they're, like it was like we get 8% of our oil and all that from Putin. So cutting off 8% would not cause it to be up over $1 it already was before we cut off Putin. Sorry, this is all Putin's fault. Why was it up over $1 before we did anything that involved that 8% of our oil that we get? Why? Like, it does not, like, it was already way up. They're just using you as an excuse, and they can say, look at all the money they're making off it. Like, people are making money. That's their job. But there's reasons, like, people are making this stuff because, they're still
right.
In the oil game all over the planet, all these companies.
But all those people are the same people who are all, and this is an example that will set it all in the picture frame right here. All these people we're talking about, that would give us a hard time, would argue this with us, that would say we're wrong, we don't know what we're talking about, we're racist. All those people are the same people that would rather see our country just fall apart in shambles. Those green energy people.
I try not to argue with those people, because there's you can't even like conversate with them because their heads just immediately.
Well, I mean, you can put everything in the scenario, like, they all want to be green energy. They all want no fossil fuels. Well, great. Let's fucking do it. But one, like, everybody who's a mild down the middle type thinking person goes, well, we're not going to be able to do that overnight for tomorrow. So we're going to have to continue burning fossil fuel between now and then. And until that point, we also do not, I don't even know if we do worldwide, have enough raw materials to build enough solar panels.
Hey, Elon said
to offset.
Elon said going completely green is completely unsustainable and unattainable because it wouldn't work. And I'm pretty sure he probably is the guy that would know.
And the other thing is recycling. Our country needs to get better at recycling because it could solve problems such as, and now I know this is going to sound crazy when I say it like this, but
coming out of your mouth,
all my life, I've always felt like if we're going to recycle, why don't we recycle more of everything? Yeah. Automobiles. We should be recycling every single square centimeter of a car.
You can reuse it all.
Because what can't we make right now? What do we have a hard time having? Chips. There's thousands of vans and trucks sitting over at that lot at Ford right now behind the river factory that can't do a damn thing because they're waiting on chips. And we're not talking about a couple hundred cars here. I'm talking thousands upon thousands in that big ass lot.
Yeah, they're stuck.
And it's like, well, what about all these cars I see get crushed, flattened out, pancaked, stacked up, banded, shoved onto a semi, hauled to the scrapyard down here at Omnisource, because the main one is right here in Jackson. They all get melted and shipped up. All them chips that just got wasted.
Yeah.
There's a company over here in Kalamazoo. It's called Morris Rose Auto Parts. They sell recycled auto parts. But my thing is all their scraps, what happens to that, Steve? It either just goes to the scrapyard or it goes to a dumpster and goes to a garbage place. Why aren't we recycling all that? You got chips, you got wiring.
Here's a real easy breakdown. I'll do the Barney style version of this for people that don't understand these. Let's just say my garbage company here offers recycling, right? For all your let's just say they take the trash from the trash can and then they take the stuff you threw in the recycling can and they throw it into the same damn thing. So it all gets crushed together and nothing actually gets recycled. We just waste everything. We cannot help ourselves. When all those nice hills look out by near dumps, those are mountains of trash that have been covered by dirt and now they're growing stuff.
And they'll be like that for at least 120 years.
Like
minimum.
For your easy. And
I lied. I'm sorry. I think it's 100 years now. It's required. I think it might be 100 years.
And you got to think, getting all those chips and all that. I mean, if we recycled everything, we'd be spending less money and there would just be so much less. And the
just the car thing.
Yeah, just that. I mean, just recycling in general. I mean, we could solve a lot of the problems we have with a lot of things if we actually did what we used to do and actually, reused things and properly recycled things. And
honestly, Ski, everything's already in play for the federal government to do this. They just got to make a few phone calls and say, hey, from now on, when we do this, instead of you taking what you can fixing it and donating it out, because if people probably don't know this, but the American Legion, you can donate cars to them, they fix them, and they give them to people who need vehicles. The American Legion does. Well, with that being said, why not donate all unused vehicles to the American Legion? Let the American Legion fix the ones that are able to be fixed or worth fixing for veterans, and then take all the rest of those and then build a company somewhere in the country and have multiple locations, put a headquarters somewhere and then have multiple locations, and have that company have one job: strip, sort, and supply those recycled parts. Now, when you get all those used chips to the company that makes chips to send them out to manufacturers, they can go through them and say, oh, yeah, no, these are damaged. Let's melt that down, rebuild. Oh, yeah, we can save this. We don't even have to have a person doing it. You can have a machine programmed to do that. Elon Musk could have an assembly line built next month that could do all of that for you. Just make the phone call. The shit is in place to do it. The people are there. Just make
You just have to care.
the call.
And again, that would help. Again,
It can be done.
It would save the world a lot of money. It would save the planet a lot of getting mauled.
Sorry, it makes that's a very touchy subject.
It would solve, again, but it would save us money, so everything would cost less, which would make the inflation thing go down.
Those little countries over there
destroying the earth a lot less. And I love, again, arguing with people, then we should all get electric cars. Like, do you see what a lithium does?
One example why I know I'm right.
And where do they recycle all these green energy things? Oh wait, they can't.
Exactly.
Some guy was like, they do.
Driving.
And the guy's like, what? They do recycle the lithium batteries when they die. Like, really? But I see fields. Or how about the windmills? Like, they reuse them. It's like there's just fields for miles in some places of windmill parts. Look at California telling people, like, don't use certain things. Don't use rolling blackouts for certain times because green energy isn't completely sustainable,
right
and it never will. And by the way, just for the green energy people, shutting down our the finishing of our pipeline, yes, I know it was to transport natural gas, yada 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 yada. What, it was cleaner, like you're saying, we're saving the planet because it doesn't do this. You do realize that
I'm listening.
I don't know, there's greenage all around those things when they build them. And here's the funny one. And by the way, when we frack and dig and drill and all of that, our own oil and natural gas, which by the way burns cleaner than the stuff we get from other countries, and we get it cleaner than other countries do. So we're getting rid of that to save the planet. But then we're having people like the Iranians and the Saudis and the Chinese, who are a million times more potent at destroying the planet, and Russia to drill and have it, like, dig more, so they destroy the world more, so they can put it on a freighter, so that ship can then destroy the world more, so they can put it on trains and everything else and trucks to ship it across the country, which is then burning more. But somehow you guys are saving the planet.
I apologize, America had to blow my nose.
So pipeline bad because it does it 100% clean, and you have to, but having people that produce it way dirtier, that destroy the planet way more, and the stuff burns nastier, gets to produce more, which kills the planet.
So those
more,
people making
which then
decision.
ships it across more, then you put it on everything that burns fuel, which fucks up the ozone layer more.
But that's better for the environment than the non-moving, non-fossil fuel burning steel pipes that just sit there and transport oil. Don't do anything. They just let the oil flow through it.
Yeah, they just sit there. They just have little valves. You go. So
this right here, because you're talking about those green energy idiots, let's talk about them. That's what they are. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but that's what they are. This here is a cannabis container. This is what you buy medical cannabis in Michigan. And they come in all different sizes and shapes. Yeah.
Fancy.
All right. This is plastic. Polypropylene number 5. Recycling. There you go. You can even see it.
Yeah.
I can't recycle this.
Amazing, isn't it?
I cannot recycle this because it had cannabis in it.
Just the dumbest thing.
So now, in the bottom of this wall locker behind this banner, I have 2 boxes full of containers that's just mounting over like this.
Yeah.
What do you do with it?
Hey, It's
That's not a question for you. That's a question
I
for
know.
anybody that could
I
possibly
know.
get an idiot to answer that
Yeah.
for, and they could let us know.
I ask questions like that all the time, and then people just start taking personal shots at me in a text because they don't actually have anything, because they're just going off of what people tell them. They're not actually
I would
thinking.
love for any Michigan idiot that can answer that
Well,
question.
Any idiot. I don't care.
No, I
Or
say Michigan
or not.
idiot because I live in that state. I'm gonna dog that particular policy in that particular state.
I just
I want some idiot from the state of Michigan that has something to do with cannabis regulations in any form, or even the state with Laura. Let's put it that way. Where do I recycle these damn containers? I have service for trash and recycling through the biggest waste management system in the state.
How about you guys do us all a favor and just go back to doing what we used to do, and glass bottles for things, because then you could just sterilize, clean, and reuse like old milk jugs, glass, like soda thing, everything. Like, and to kill out, this whole inflation thing, let's not also forget that them burning it, getting different fuels and then having to import them over here, which costs money, which is why the price of everything is going up. Then it comes to things like farmers, and we, again, why do you think the price of ground beef's up 14%, bacon's up 18%, fish is up 11%, milk 14%, coffee's 11%, fresh fruits 10%.
What did you say chicken was? Like 18?
That's up 13.4. The last numbers, 13.4. I mean, biscuits and muffins are up 11, breakfast cereals up 9, and the bags have actually gotten smaller, even though the prices went up. So I don't see anyone.
I was going to tell you chips.
I don't see anyone complaining that that the price went up, but then they also are giving you the size of the boxes and everything that they give you. Like the box is the same. What's inside the bag has gone down while the price went up. And again, all this is coming back to farmers because they, again, just look at fertilizers and stuff. They have to get that over here because we don't really make any of those. The price of that went up. The price of shipping it over to them went up. And what's going to happen to all the farmers and all the vegetables and everything that they do when they can't get their hands on anything? It's going to make it go even higher because of all the idiocy. Like if you actually do what Jen Psaki loves to do and circle back to the beginning, you can actually see why all of it happens. If you don't even really need that. Like
you make a very valid point.
Me and Walter don't have the most functioning brains on the planet. If we can look at it and figure it out, it really actually isn't that hard.
A problem. It's a problem if we can figure it out and they can't.
If I could figure it out that easy. But before we move on to the big one, I just want to say one thing for everybody. To close this out for me before Walter finishes. On the inflation thing. This one's
huge.
There you go. What? There's you're welcome, America. That was it right there. All of Mr. I'm going to be a moderate who's been a full-fledged progressive commie, but you can kill out
speaking
the
of
inflation.
moderate,
You can fill out the inflation thing for the year before we move on to the final one, which is again I hate.
Speaking of moderate, because you said it, it just made me think about it the other day. I do find funny though what Mitch McConnell said the other day. We will make President Biden.
Yeah, like we win. We'll make him run the country as a moderate.
Exactly.
Good old.
That made my day the other day.
Good old gobbler. That's what he is. Man, he has that turkey gobble. You can't does he have teeth in there? Like, I just look at Mitch McConnell and I get freaked out by the turkey neck. Yes. I'm like, do you have teeth? What? Like, I don't think I've ever seen your top teeth. Like, are they there?
I have once. He was laughing at Ted Cruz.
Is it an optical illusion?
You were talking about prices though, and then sizes. So I noticed something the other day. We went to, it was Kroger. Actually, now that I think about it, it wasn't probably, it was Kroger. We were at Kroger and I was looking at cheese dips because they don't sell it no more. I was looking for a particular one, but I used to buy this white cheese. But as I was looking through the cheese dips, I noticed if the prices did not go up, the quantity went down. If the prices went up, the jar stayed the same size. And the same went for the boxes of Cheez-Its.
That goes for Cheez-Its, cereal.
There was 3 bags of different chips that Brantley and I seen they did that. Brantley and I were looking the other day at the store.
Cheese dips, baby food, eggs, pretty much everything really. I mean, across the furniture.
Yogurt.
Yeah. Everything.
And bastards.
Everything.
What in yogurt comes from overseas or out of the country? It comes from milk.
Yeah. But again, the farmers are getting,
I could see it going up 4 to 5%, but the farmer's income is not going up. That pisses me off. somewhere, somebody, i.e. Yoplait and Dannon,
The big
are making a shit ton of extra money on the backs of some sorry sap at a farm raising his cattle. That's not okay.
that's
And then
it's the same way with the chicken farmers. I mean, look at what there's
the
like
yogurt
5 companies
amounts,
that control all the chicken in the whole entire country, and they control what
well,
the
that goes to the
farmers.
point with Wendy's.
They get the one what the chicks get. They control what food they get. Like they control all of it.
I'm glad you said that. That brings up Wendy's.
Watch.
I got a couple more things. This is all going to hit inflation.
Before I don't lose it, watch
go ahead.
Super Size Me Too. And he
Big
goes
fan.
after big chicken and just to prove a point. The guy might be nuts. He might have tried to kill himself with McDonald's, but the guy's onto something. And Super Size Me Too. Carry on. I just knew
Definitely
I wouldn't. I just knew I wouldn't remember.
If you're going to have prices go up and things stay the same, and then if prices don't go up, they start changing the size. Whatever happened to like, how do I word this? It's kind of like with energy and stuff here in the state of Michigan over the years, not so much now as it was 2 or 3 decades ago. But if you used to gouge prices on gas or milk or meat, I'm talking a 1 or 2% gouge. The state would hand you your ass on a silver platter.
Yep.
Literally, in the state of Michigan, just 30 years ago, they would hand you your ass on a silver platter. I've seen it happen. And I'm like, now I sit here and I watch my energy prices ski because I have to use consumers' energy because there's no other choices in the state of Michigan because we're communists and we only have one company. Yeah, anyways, it's a monopoly on its own. Anyway, we won't go there because the antitrust laws are a joke.
Most of them are. Most things.
They have fluctuated. Dude, in February, my numbers stay the same every fucking month. I have never had that jump like that on an energy bill ever in my life. Ever. The inflation rate is higher now than it's been our whole life. You and I have not been alive since it was this high.
It hasn't been this high since 81, I believe the year was. So it was years before we were even thought of. That's
what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of this that I look at, and it's pathetic.
And it's only,
if they're going to change things and jack numbers up, we should be able to hold people accountable. Yeah.
Look,
period. There's no way around that. Same with cars, Ski. We went and confirmed this weekend. I can order a brand new Ford Maverick pickup out the door loaded for $28,600 and some change. Brand new loaded truck with all-wheel drive. I'm like, okay. I found one for sale. It had like 800 miles on it, 830 some miles on it. I'm like, I'm gonna go check it out, see if it's what I like. I want to see one in person to verify it's exactly what I like. Well, we went to go look at this thing. I looked at the sticker as I first got there, like within the first minute or so. Oh yeah, let's go. I don't even want to look at this one no more. They were selling the used one with 832 miles on it, 837 miles on it for $44,000.
It's amazing how much that always happens, isn't it? But again, the price of used vehicles is up like
I can buy a 20%. Brand new one. That's almost 200%.
Like there's lots of needling, is what I'll call it, that they're doing to a lot of people, and yet they have all of their like.
I don't have words for it. There's just got to be something illegal about it. That's the only thing I say.
And all the people that are doing stuff like that, or the ones that are also on the Hill complaining about things like that happening, even though they have no problem taking the millions of dollars that they get from all those lobbyists, from all of those people that are doing all of that and causing all of it. Like you do realize, like look, follow the money. What they all making lots of it from all sorts of people, and then blaming it on the rest of the planet. But again, that's a whole nother story, because if we start on that, but yeah, like it's ridiculous.
And how long do you think it'll be before we start seeing our interest rates follow the inflation rate?
What did I say?
No, you and I have agreed on this.
I'm saying, what did I say? November of 2020, even though I just refined it shortly before that to get her. Like what, in 2018, just did it to get her off of the place after we were finally divorced. 2019. Yeah, 2019.
2019.
Yeah. What did I say in 2020? December, right after the election? What? I'm refining now. Why? Because in a year or two,
Well, look at what I told
But
Knucklehead when him and Abby asked me about why I was so
screwed.
paranoid about somebody becoming president.
It's like what? I'm like, what? I'm refining now. And I said it, I think I said it on one of my shows. What? I just refined. Why? Because I know it's about to
Well,
I know it's coming. Why? Because the guy was vice president for 8 years. And guess what? Light bulb. Look what happened. And interest rates, I mean, they're going to have to follow it to help anything, which is why what I'm getting this, and I got it down to like a 2 something, but it's 30-year fixed, which means it's not going anywhere. So when it happened, I wouldn't be one of those guys going from like, that just kept climbing 1% every year, because that's the max they can shaft you, whatever you want to put it. But again, it's about to like skyrocket like through the roof. And we're going to be up over 10% inflation so if the interest rate, like people are going to like, which is just going to burn people even more, because they're going to be paying a million times more for, interest on everything.
And what about people on fixed incomes?
Yeah, which is, well,
because nothing's increasing for them.
Hey, that's what I keep telling my dearly departed brother, Drew. Don't worry, guys, he's not dead just to me. Actually, I'm dead to him.
Mentally dead.
Yeah, I'm dead to him is really how it is. Like, what? The gas prices were up and everything. You know what? I can afford as much food and gas as I want. Doesn't affect me. I don't know why you care about trivial things. It's like, why? Because there's people like me that federally, like the government said, what, you are not allowed to work because of everything wrong with you, which means I don't like is what that income is that income. And there's people that have less than that are seniors that are less than what. And this is killing all of them. Like the lower to middle class that he ran on right now is getting needled out of, I think the number was what, an extra $6,000.
It's not even just the fixed income,
it's getting screwed, like an extra 6 G's coming out of our pockets for the whole year just to spend on stuff as of right now with the numbers. And guess what? A lot of us might have $6,000 for the whole entire year for extra.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Speaking of hosting, so him and Abby just had Colton last fall.
Fact.
With everything going on, the way people are corrupt when it comes to childcare and school and everything, Abby and Jesse at the point where Abby's not going back to work.
Yeah.
And Jesse's like, I don't care how much more money and stress it puts on me. He says, dude, I care about my family. I don't feel comfortable with other things happening. And that's kind of the impression he had with it when the whole COVID thing went down. Everybody had to have the COVID vaccine or they got fired. Abby ended up getting her COVID vaccine and now she's not working. He wishes she wouldn't have got it. But that's besides the point. So
we'll get into those numbers at a later date.
But when you talk about inflation, when you got people like Jesse who makes, you compare him to me, he makes a lot more money than I do even. It's one of those things where it's like, he has no problem getting it and making it. And now all of a sudden he's like, dude, this is ridiculous. He started selling shit off. Like,
we're all there.
So when somebody who's a blue collar worker that makes mid-range pay is telling you, we got a problem, it needs to be listened to. Hey, I got 3 more things I want to say, and then we'll be done with inflation.
All I'm going to say, it was my class act before, is sooner or later, that's the only way you get people that voted for that way and think a certain way. The only way they're going to open their eyes is when they're sitting there going, like, what? This is burying me. Like, yeah, I told you. It doesn't affect you now, but sooner or later, it all catches you. Just saying. Carry on, my wayward son.
Next thing is because it kind of does dealing with inflation, but it don't at the same time. Elon Musk and Twitter. Elon made his proposal this morning for $43 billion offer to buy out the rest of Twitter for $43 billion for the rest of it.
At 54, wasn't 54.20
well,
a share?
For 54.20 a share. Obviously that was this morning. Don't know as of right in the moment if there's an answer to that.
It's his final and his best offer.
Well, like I told you earlier, though, he said in his own words, I invested in Twitter as I believe in this. Sorry, I invested in Twitter as I believe in its potential to be the platform for free speech around the globe. And I believe free speech is a societal imperative for a functioning democracy. Musk said in the filing, however, since making my investment, I now realize the company will neither thrive nor serve this societal imperative in its current form. Twitter needs to be transformed as a private company. He's gotten to take Twitter and he wants to SpaceX it. That's what he wants to do. The problem is you got people that say I can recycle this, but won't let me recycle it, telling him he can't do it. So when he buys them in the next 12 hours, I hope that he fires those people.
You got to think, I mean, it'll kind of be like when Steve Jobs and they begged him to come back to, Apple because, it tanked. I'm not going to mention why it tanked or how those hundreds of millions of shares suddenly got, dumped. I'm not going to say who did it. But let's say he then took his company back over that they shafted him out of, but either they're going to let him buy it or he's going to take his 9.1% or whatever he has right now. And if he dumps that, Twitter's going to like that fast. Either they're going to let him take it.
If he buys it,
or he's going to, if he already has 9%, they're either giving him the whole company and letting him buy it, or he's going to dump him. I'm sure.
Well, that was something I was asked.
And the company is going to, the company's going to tank really, really fast. Because
that was something that was asked about him today with the percentage he bought and not taking the board position, how much it would actually cost him to purchase Twitter. And so he's like, well, that would be a piss poor. And then the next statement made on the news was, Elon Musk is not having anything to do with Twitter or buying Twitter for anything to do with financial gains. The guy could take a financial loss, i.e. the financial loss he just took in January was larger than the total worth of Twitter. Yeah. He lost 60-some billion that day.
He doesn't care.
That's more than what Twitter's worth. And he didn't bat an eye.
Hey. He most famously went on social media at one point and said that the greatest gift that he could do to the world is to buy Facebook just to shut it down.
I agree.
How toxic, and like I won't make a dime off of it. I'll buy it just to make sure it goes away forever. Yeah. So right now,
well, and that's the thing. Like the statement's been made about through the process with Trump and Trump Social. The statement's been made in the past by people about Elon Musk in reference to just making their own social media. Well, I'm with Musk. Like, why would I make my own when there's already one out there that has the potential to be the best thing to mankind since sliced bread?
People just
why not fix it? And that's what I feel comfortable in saying and confident that is his thought process through the whole thing. He's going, I'm not gonna build another one. I can buy the one I already like and fix it.
Yeah. That's all you gotta do. But we'll see. We'll know in the next couple hours. And I'm sure everyone there is right now having a stroke going, oh no. Again, it's either it's his company or, well, it's not going to be anyone's company because he can crash the whole thing just by dumping. But
before I forget to say these, I think we need to say these out loud. One is, I don't know if people out there are familiar with it. I am more so than most people because of the military and current curricular activities. Preamble to the Constitution. I want to read that, and I'm going to read something else, and I'm going to leave inflation at that. For God and country, we associate ourselves together for the following purposes: to uphold and defend the Constitution of the United States of America, to maintain law and order, to foster and perpetuate a 100% Americanism, to preserve the memories and the incidents of our association in the Great Wars, to inoculate a sense of individual obligation to the community, state, and nation, to combat the autocracy of both the classes and the masses, to make the right master of might, to promote peace and goodwill on earth, to safeguard and transmit to posterity and principles of justice, freedom, democracy, to consecrate and sanctify our comradeship by our devotion to mutual helpfulness. That's the preamble to the Constitution. That is the whole point. Next statement I got to make. Ronald Reagan, January 5th, 1967. I'm going to read 2 paragraphs from this speech. To a number of us, this is a first and hence a solemn and momentous occasion. And yet, on the broad page of state and national history, what is taking place here is almost a commonplace routine. We are participating in the orderly transfer of administrative authority by direction of the people. And this is the simple magic of the commonplace routine, which makes it a near miracle to many of the world's inhabitants. This continuing fact that people, by democratic process, can delegate power and yet retain the custody of it. Paragraph 2. Perhaps you and I have lived too long with this miracle to be properly appreciative. Freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction. It is not ours by the way of inheritance. It must be fought for and defended constantly by each generation, for it comes only once to a people. And those in world history who have known freedom and then lost it have never known it again. Ronald Reagan, 1967, in his inauguration speech as governor of California.
Yeah. I love when I talk to Drew because, well, you know, guys, you people are like always going after commies. It's like, well, you guys keep being commies.
Yeah, they are the communists because in 1967, we were fighting the same thing then under Ronald Reagan as we're fighting now.
Yeah, they're all
The
commies.
same jackwagon people in the brain.
And they just go and, yeah, they're dumb. But I mean, all you have to do is look. It's kind of punching you directly in the face. Like, it's not that hard to say all the stuff.
I didn't even get to the Iran bullshit.
History repeats itself repeatedly.
Idiots.
But yeah, what am I light, weirdo?
Definitely makes you ask. Huh?
Not that, the light moving. Her. No one can see.
There's definitely
like waving.
A point where I come to it and I look at it and go, where has the Americanism in this country gone?
Shit, because everyone's stupid.
That's where I leave it.
Why do you think they dumbed everyone down? Purposefully. Go
ahead.
I was just going to say, bring it on to a different thing because we keep going on about that. We'll hit Iran and
and it'll never stop.
Yeah. So we'll get on to that whole speech with ghost guns. I'm just going to go over murder stats from 2020 first. And then I'll let you give. I already gave my piece yesterday, so I'll get some numbers out and then let you just go off on it. But murder stats from 2020: handguns, 8,029. Yeah, firearms with type not stated, 4,863. Knives or cutting instrument, 1,739. Other weapons or weapons not stated, 983. Hands, fists, knees, and elbows, 662. Blunt objects, 393. And then we get, there's rifles, 455.
I have one state.
Shotguns, 203. Other guns, 113. So you take other guns, shotguns, and rifles, add them together, and they're not even like, you can add those with firearms with type not stated, because there's a lot of unsolved gun homicides and stuff. They just, and it still doesn't even come close within thousands of handguns, but yet they continue to go on their tirades of, assault style weapons. And why do you need a magazine with that big of a clip? Even though mass shootings last year, 146 handguns were used in 98 incidents. 57 rifles were used in 49 incidents. In case you didn't notice, there was half the incidents of people using rifles compared to handguns, because that's what most of it is. And then 30 shotguns were used in 26 instances. And
wasn't there more knife stabbings last year, knife murders, than there was gun murders? Or sorry, let me rephrase that question. I believe there was more stabbings than there was rifle murders.
Yeah, there always is. Every single year, there's like 4 times, at least like around 4 times more people using knives, razor blades, X-Acto knives, all that stuff than there are rifles or shotguns or most anything. So all of you jackasses, and guess what? Mass shooting in New York the other day. He used a 9mm Glock. You know what that isn't? Rifle. You know what going after ghost guns is going to do? It's just going to give the Fed more money because law-abiding citizens are going to keep buying them because they register all their weapons like they're supposed to, and criminals are going to keep doing the same thing, like filing off serial numbers on all their weapons they commit all these things with, so they can't be traced, because guess what? That's what they do, and criminals do criminal things. So you're not actually going to do anything with crime or any of that because, well, none of them should have guns for the most part, like all of them. I mean, most of these are committed by felons and people, but they have them anyway. Well, know why? Because criminals don't give a shit. They're all felons already.
Yeah,
what's
exactly.
one more?
Well, and part of that, and when you say it like that, is
it's not gonna do
it doesn't matter what kind of firearm it is. People who tout and scream up and down about gun control, they are the people that can't realize we have a people and a policy control problem. We don't have a gun problem.
We have a crime problem because
I can set a gun fully loaded, one in a chamber down right there in front of you. That motherfucker's not going to shoot you. It can sit there for 6 hours in front of you. It will not shoot you. The gun will not shoot you.
Unless you put it in Alec Baldwin's hand, because apparently, you know.
That's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yeah, anyway, but carry on.
Yeah. You put that gun there, it's not going to shoot someone. Like Joe Biden stood next to that gun right there, that ghost gun kit. He stood next to that whole time having a speech. It never shot him. So I think the statement of we have a gun problem, we need gun control is bullshit.
We have a crime problem.
We have a people problem. We have a policy problem. Our policy problem is the fact that we don't enforce the people problem.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Like they stopped convicting most like smaller, lesser crimes and all over.
I would like for somebody on national television and answering and questioning, or questioning and answering after speeches. I would like for somebody to ask Joe Biden what his wife's middle name is. Because his answer is going to be, and when he does that, that proves my point right there. The man should not be making a decision, one, about anything to do with a gun.
Making a decision that has anything to do with anything.
That pisses me off.
God doesn't even know where he is half the time.
But
I mean, for the love of God.
And then I like how everybody likes to say that's across the board, one party or the other party. That's an idiot people problem. That's not a gun problem. It's not a party problem. It's a people don't know how to enforce policies that enforce the people problems to be solved. That's what it boils down to.
It's a George Soros problem. That's a progressive problem. Like, well, we're not going to go after him for this. Like, you know, I don't know, larceny of up to $1,000, or, you know, Philly just said they're not going to arrest people for most traffic offenses or even pulled them over. They're just going to let them, like, you're just letting people get away with more and more, which is why the crime stats and everything go that way. Kind of like when they defunded all those police, you know, pretty much they got, we have a gun violence problem in New York. Well, you did take away a couple $1 billion. You got rid of the anti-gun unit, which went after illegal guns and criminals with guns. That was their whole purpose. It's amazing how you got rid of them and the gun problem went up. And pretty much everywhere that did any defunding, crime exploded by very large percentages, and they've all begged the states and all that for, you know, like for more money so they can start getting more police officers. Because, you know, it turns out, even though how many times Ilhan Omar says that we need to get rid of it completely because they're not doing their job now. No, there's like half of them because you took all the money away, so no one can stop anything, which is why crime's going up, because when there's less people to enforce the law, criminals do more bad things because they know they can get away with it. And all you have to do is Minneapolis, lots of places in, you know, we got Seattle, a bunch of places in California, Austin, Texas, New York City. Look at all these places where, you know, like you just follow the people that took money away from police, and miraculously they're setting records for homicides and all kinds of things because, you know, you enforce the law, believe it, and throw people up, and, you know, but don't feel compassion for the criminal. Like, be compassionate for the victims. Who cares? Why? Because they did criminal things, like the mass shooting in Sacramento, where the DA told the people on the parole board, please God, don't let him out. Why? He's going to do something stupid. Why? He's, after 6 years of a 10-year sentence, they let him out. I'm pretty sure they even gave him money after he got out, you know, a couple $1,000s, and he went out and shot 6 people. Why? Because you feel bad for the criminal. Like, no one cares about, like, the victims anymore. Like, you could tell they're commies. What they're doing everything they can to let society collapse.
I think there's a difference between caring. No,
they flat.
There's a difference between having civility for a criminal There's a difference between having civility for the human rights of a criminal and caring about a criminal. I'm sorry, you rape a woman or a child or hurt a woman or a child.
Knock the camera off. I'm actually
I don't have compassion for that kind of person. And I leave it at that. And I know that may sound wrong. It may not. I don't know. But I know.
No, you had your chance. Sorry. You chose
There
to
you
do
go.
that with it. Or let's go back to 2020 when we let all kinds of people that actually did have crimes against children charges. Like, I believe his last name was Wright in Atlanta. His last name?
Yes.
I believe so. But let's say he had crimes against children on his record. They let him out because of COVID, which keep them all locked, keep them in there. Like
when they're locked up, they're socially distanced.
Anyway, but he got out. He got his second chance, which he shouldn't have gotten for his crimes. He should have been in there the whole time. That whole COVID letting people out. Look, I made them reoffended. Anyway, he then took his second chance, got blackout drunk, fell asleep in a Wendy's parking lot drive-through. The cops were sitting there giving him all the sobriety tests and being completely okay with him for 45 minutes. They tried to cuff him. And instead of dealing with it and getting in the back of the car, which they could have just drunk tanked him and said, okay, but like whatever, because he decided to fight the cops, steal their taser, turn around, shoot it over. Yeah, thankfully he missed the guy's, the officer's face, and he got shot. And he shot him in the back. Like, you realize when you're turning and you run like that, and you point a weapon, you're facing forward. Just because that 1 second motion, by the time he reacted, you were spun back around. You turned around, you pointed a weapon at his face, and you got shot on his second chance. I mean, you shouldn't have been out in the first place. And everyone's saying, they went and, people were shooting kids for being in the wrong, like in Atlanta, they burnt down, like, all the stupid that happened, like over a guy that already went to jail shouldn't have been out in the first place, got a second chance, went out, got hammered, fell asleep, DWI there, assaulted police officers, resisted arrest, stole their weapon, attempted murder technically by them because the taser was stated as a weapon, as a murder weapon, like they said it, the DA himself said, that's top priority because that could kill somebody. Fired it over their head and all that, and then he got shot, and like he broke the law, but he had like 15 chances that day to not, and the cops were being cool and tried to cuff him. And again, it could have turned into getting the drunk tank. You can go back and get your stuff in the morning. Let's not see you again. Or it could have been something that simple because they were all being very civil.
Well, and that's just it.
There's a 45-minute video of them being very, very civil and everyone getting along until they tried to cuff him. Then, guess what? He fought, resisted, shot at. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for people that do stupid things, and they made him out to be the victim and the police out to be bad people. How about you guys? How about we hold the criminal accountable for what they did and stop making everyone out to be a victim, even though if you're a progressive or you listen to any mainstream media, that's all they push is the victim mentality. So everybody's a victim then. To include,
that's just it. I live
except for the people that are being victimized. We're not victims, but somehow we're the bad people. And
I live in a state that's pretty
shitty,
politically corrupt, if you ask me.
No, I don't got it.
But even with that being said, in the state of Michigan, you get pulled over and you're drunk. This is how it's gonna happen. Your first time, they're gonna leave your car probably wherever it's at, as long as it's not on the road. They're gonna lock it. They're gonna take your keys. They're gonna take you. You're gonna go to jail. You're gonna get arrested for a DUI. They're gonna do your fingerprints. You're gonna sit in a drunk tank till you're sober, and then they're gonna release you, and you're gonna go home. You're gonna have 90 days, or no? Yeah, the first 90 days, no license. And you got to go back and get your license for you valid after you get a DUI. That's in a corrupt state.
And all the courses and all the stuff you have to do, and the money just to get it back.
If we can do that here,
anyone should be able to do it.
In a gun shooting, a shootout between cops and somebody somewhere else.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My whole stance on it, and again, Drew screamed at me to no end.
Take your charge. Because the thing of it is even if you go to jail, the charge you're getting at that moment might not be what you get convicted of. You might not get convicted of anything to do with drinking at all.
Yeah, they can
man up, take it, go to court and deal with it. Yeah, you're not going to argue it and win with the cop on the side of the road unless it's like a morally wrong question. Then yeah, stand there till the death for it. But till then, no.
And again, Drew, I know I haven't mentioned him in a while, but he's one of them, and he was yelling at me of course you're on the cop side. What? there was like 15 things the guy did wrong before it got to shooting. When he turned around and pointed that taser at his face, what? Guess what? He was facing.
I would have shot.
Why he can't turn? What if he didn't turn around to point it at him? What he would have went like this. He wouldn't have fully swung around with the thing point. Like guess what? Guess what? You've never been trained on anything, Drew. What in that split second? What less than a second when he turned pointed, what he had to get his gun out, draw what bang, what sorry, in that second or two, what he got, what he reacted, he got his thing, what he defended himself because it is considered a deadly weapon. Their DA said like 2 weeks before that taser. So that was 100% justified. And then like you shot him in the back, what like you've never obviously done anything with your life, but that amount of time, what you're going to be spun back around.
Yeah.
Guess what? You have to fully turn
the
around.
delay between when that guy pulled the trigger on that taser till the guy pulled the trigger on the firearm is enough time for that guy to spin back around and keep running.
Yeah. I mean, sorry, what? Like he had to spin fully around to point that. I'm like, otherwise he would have went like this. There would be no like turning. You could see it. Like there's a video of it. Like, can you people please just, I don't know, grow something between your ears besides like, hair.
Good luck with that.
But like the victim mentality that they push, and that's all they push.
But that's like the New York thing yesterday. I still say there was more than one guy. I have a hard time believing all of those details could have been covered by one. Even me, I would probably struggle, and I'm a paranoid person, so I think things through. I would still have struggled to do all of that by myself.
I mean, we'll find out. I mean, I'm sure we'll find out. But
15 years from now, maybe.
I'm surprised. Hey, it's sooner than we'll find out all the bad effects of COVID vaccines that, they said that they'll release.
Oh, I'm sure that's
within 70 years, they'll release it all. Yeah, that's not telling you something enough right there.
Thanks, guys. I'll be dead before then.
But yeah, they
won't
release the information until all of us are dead. That's sweet.
Well, that's kind of like.
But the shooting thing, yeah, we'll find out. I don't have faith in them, but I don't think we're going to hear much about it very much longer because it was a 9mm Glock, so it didn't fit.
Oh, they're going to drop that faster than anyone could drop two sacks of potatoes coming home from the grocery store.
Like it doesn't fit. Like you only hear about like the ones that fit what they want, just like police involved shootings.
It does not fit their narrative, period.
Just like police involved shootings, but look at the numbers. They don't lie. We went up more than, in 2020 getting shot by the police, white people went up more than all of the minorities combined and multiplied several times, but somehow, we only hear about, the justifiable homicides. Guess what? Chauvin, that was, he had like the whole George Floyd thing. We all saw the George Floyd thing and went, yeah, that was murder. Why? Because you didn't have to hold your knee on his neck for, was he freaking out way before that? Did he have like 4 times a lethal dose of fentanyl system? Yes, but did you need to keep him down on the ground with your knee there for what, 9.5, 11 minutes? No,
yeah,
that was dumb. But
that situation there
justifiable.
I'm sorry, but the moment they had him cuffed on his hands and his feet,
that was over.
You should have got off his spine, you jackass. He's going nowhere.
Yeah, he's not moving. Like we all agreed on that. The rest of them, though, were all very justifiable. But again, they only pick and choose. They pick and choose. That's their whole thing. Like they just pick and choose what they want the world to see, and the rest of us see all of these things because I pay attention to the whole world outside of the big mainstream media because you find, I know I just mentioned, I mentioned Brett Baer earlier. He mentioned Tucker.
I'll be honest.
I don't try to see Brett Baer. He's just, he just happens to be.
It won't be 70 years before they release those COVID numbers.
Oh yeah. Sooner, like.
How long do you think Joe Biden will live? Like not a smart answer, but in legitimate honesty, how much longer do you think he'll live?
I don't know, until he says something dumb about Hillary.
I don't foresee him living past 2030.
Yeah, no way in hell. The way he's
okay, so with being openly honest about that, I bet you in 20. Wait a minute.
I bet you the second we get control of everything again, the right people.
In 2036, before that election, depending on who's in office, that will get released in 2035 or 2036.
Yeah, if not.
And the only reason I say that is because Joe Biden will be dead, so they cannot come on him. And by that point, Anthony Fauci and Pete Buttigieg will already be sitting in a country that they can't be extradited from.
Pete Buttigieg is worthless, by the way.
I know, but he's part of the.
Just want you guys to know that. Like, I think he's actually stupid, though. Like,
I've been going to South Bend my whole life, and the roads have never been good down there. So the dude should never got put to the position he's in right now, let alone.
You should have nothing to do with transportation. The only thing he does is transport his ass out of work because he's never there. Kind of like someone else. Kind of like someone else that we know that's in office right now. He doesn't really do anything either except blow my mind. Like when he calls his secretary, his secretary of defense for this long, and the other day he called him the secretary of.
I couldn't believe I forgot to say that to you earlier because you were talking about it. That's the other thing about Joe Biden. Boris Johnson's an idiot. Okay. I got mud flaps on vehicles that got more common sense than that dude. All that set aside, that dude's more of a leader than Biden will ever be.
He's got terrible.
That guy had the balls with no flak jacket, no helmet. Walked down to the middle of Kiev the other day. Literally, nothing, just a suit. Walk around like he was Donald Trump. Don't give a shit because he knows he's like a vest ain't gonna do me any good. They're gonna blow this bitch up. They're blowing us to pieces.
Yeah, it's just, it's just it would like, and it's just
he made Joe Biden look like garbage. And kudos to Boris Johnson for doing it because it was needed.
Yeah, just to finish off. Yeah, back to backtrack. I love.
Sorry, I just made me think about that.
No, I'm just saying. Like, I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be before 2035. Like,
you think so?
If we win back, if the midterms go our way and we flip that many more, what? I'm pretty sure people will be like, no, really, what, you're going to make them.
That's only 2 years though, Ski. They're going to be able to do all that in 2 years. You think so? I mean, don't get me wrong. They're probably going to do their damnedest trying, but
and I think the 2 years after that, I think we're going to, win back a certain house, let's say, just because everyone's pissed off right now. And I think that'll work good. And then if we get that many people, like, look at all the stuff they're barreling through. And they're only at a 50-50.
Like Mike Pence said the other day.
I think if we are up and above what they can get, like what you're releasing the shit now. Why? Because you know what it is. What, you don't need 70 years to tabulate what. Like, hey, what, you got like a week.
I'll see you in the morning to pick that paperwork up.
Give them a subpoena, put a warrant out. I don't know, dude. Like what?
Well, there's no conversation you had then.
What are you going to do? Hillary it?
If you subpoena it, they only got like, what is this? It's only 48 or 72 hours, right?
Whatever.
Respond to a subpoena
amount of time. Like, all I know is, like, if we get it back, I'm sure that'll be on one of those because we all went 70 years. Like, what? It's not good, but they have the numbers now. Why won't they?
Well, my thing is, they release those numbers though.
70 years.
There'll be another shitstorm on hand. And the messed up part is that would be the only way those numbers would get released that soon is if Whitmer loses the election this year. If she loses the election, I'm with you. 100% that shit will be released next year. And the only reason I say that is because she's the only other governor that was as bad and as wrong, if not worse, than Cuomo was.
Cuomo was bad. Murphy over in Jersey, he pretty much had the same policies.
What's the numbnuts from PA?
Wolf.
That guy.
Phil Wolf, like
him and Whitmer. I'd like to have a private conversation with those two.
And Gavin Newsom out in California. But again, all the numbers
that's
came
expected out of his
the bipartisan, nonpartisan. So it's even better. What review of all the everyone's how they handled it, deaths at certain ages, education, economy is what the numbers came out. There's a giant report. All you people that said I was crazy and we need to do more, guess the numbers in those states that really, really closed down were just as bad, if not worse, than people that didn't. So it didn't make it just tanked the education in your state, into the economy, and
everybody beat in Michigan because we couldn't garden, we couldn't paint our house, we couldn't do anything. You couldn't buy anything.
You couldn't go outside and breathe. So like just put a big circle on that. The numbers are out. So if you're listening to this, I'm going over that report tomorrow. So make sure you tune in to that one. And then me and Walter can have a good conversation about it. Yeah. next Wednesday, on time, but like there's a lot of stuff to cover just with that. But I mean, we're about to hit the 2 hour mark. We're getting there. Don't worry.
Whoops.
Yeah. Hey, like I said, what just you're like what this I want to talk about this and it's like well, let's just narrow it down to three things. Like because we're gonna talk a lot, and then there's gonna be sidebar
Oh
conversations
yeah, we
about
couldn't have done
those
my whole
things.
list. We'd be doing our whole list. If we'd done that whole list, we'd be doing this at 5 o'clock this evening still.
We'll be here next week. One long continual thing, and Zoom would be like, "No, bro, what? This is where you have to stop. What you have
After
crossed
30
the
hours,
line."
they'd probably shut us down.
Yeah, like you have crossed the line. But yeah, like lots of idiocy, and again, like I mean, we talked for almost 2 hours, and we got to disprove COVID policies and vaccination and all that because it doesn't matter. Why we're not racist? Like the border numbers between drugs, people, criminals, what has exploded. You're welcome. Inflation.
I don't think
Why it really happens because printing money that you don't have is the only way. Yeah, putting more money into the thing is just going to lower the value of
I
everything.
blame 40% of our inflation on the border.
And then you put because they're spending tens of billions of dollars on.
Thank you.
Probably it's probably up to hundreds of like.
Actually, it's probably more than
40%. Yeah, it was at tens of billions, like last
in the
year.
first few days.
Yeah, like for hotels, like we're up, hundreds
I think
of billions of dollars being printed off.
Yeah, we were over
house,
$1 billion in the first week.
Yeah, you were renting out hotels and what are those big centers called? Convention centers? No, like you guys were.
They were renting out convention centers, halls, hotels,
everything.
Wedding venues. Yeah. What else did they rent out down south?
Don't forget, they
even were renting high rises, like the apartment complex.
They also are paying for their food, paying bus or plane tickets for every member of the family, and smartphones to track them that you guys are paying for too. So a lot of that.
Well, that was the other thing I was going to say. Speaking of the border, that was one thing I wanted to say, and I need to say it before I forget. I'm glad I remembered.
I forget everything.
Speaking of the border, in regards to Texas, the cheapest thing that Abbott could do is build the wall and then bust every single swinging dick from that border straight to Washington, D.C.
No, the ones that volunteer to go. Technically,
I don't even care about that.
Yeah, but
they're coming illegally. They got no rights. Nice try.
I know, but technically it is kidnapping. So, and
I mean, you can do it and have a humanity.
The Democrats would immediately.
Oh yeah, I know.
On them, which is why none of that can happen because legally, technically, even though they're criminals, it is that.
Yeah, more fucking rights than you and I
have
do.
more rights than citizens, which again is another problem that everyone we're compassionate. No, you're not compassionate. You're an idiot. I'm compassionate.
Look, I was compassionate for people in Iraq. Doesn't mean we tried to help every single soul that we've seen.
We gave people water though. We gave that one kid a Red Bull. His parents hated me. You're welcome.
Oh well.
There you go. That was the day when the convoy just kept going. And the radio was like not working, and I'm like, "There's me and Kanji going." I'm like, "Man, we barely." Like, I know, right? What? Some dick gets in front of us. They're going all slow. One of the trucks are acting stupid. We can't and we're just going. Yeah, what? Thank God for all those lights on that truck. Why? Otherwise, we'd have no idea where they are. Yeah, it was a good day, but we covered a lot of stuff. Pretty much the important domestic, issues, and there's more to cover. I mean, we can get into, next time. We'll, again. We'll talk about, maybe minimum wage stuff and how that actually affects everything. And we could talk about, then we could switch over to just the middle Afghanistan and everything that's caused, because then we can hit the Russia thing, the Ukraine thing, the China thing, the Taiwan thing, the Saudi Arabia thing, Iranian, like we talk about Afghanistan, we can hit everything else that's going on right now and caused pretty much everything that's going on.
Oh yeah, if you really wanted to hit everything, just start it at
start off
two things. You need two topics, you can cover everything. Yeah. The election of 2020 and Afghanistan.
Yep.
And that will line up all the rest of the conversations for all other clusterfucks involved. Sorry, excuse my language. That's what it is.
Hey, Wednesdays with Walter. I get to cuss then. It's a damn good change of pace. It's not like Google isn't going to market as X there with a big E next to it anyway, whether I cuss or not. So
we were talking about crime earlier. One thing I forgot to say is the other part in reference to the election, like you were talking about for the midterms. There's still, as we speak right this moment, politicians in certain parts of this country pushing defund the police. Still,
Yeah, like Ilhan Omar still, even though the city in Minneapolis voted no because it's gotten worse, she still said she has a complete intention is running on completely dismantling the whole police. It's like, so crime's going up, and then she turned around and blamed the cops for crime going
Seattle's
up
done.
because the cops aren't holding up to their oath to serve and protect. It's like, no, it's because there's like half the police, so there's less people to respond to things, which is why crimes go. People are
Exactly.
emboldened to act like criminals when they know there's no more police to stop them. But I'll leave that at there. Yeah, cut this off. Maybe 5 minutes before the 2 hour mark. Maybe. Well, we're inside of it. We just crossed the threshold. So thanks for checking it out. Again, every Wednesday, as long as he's not having sewer, whether it's his actual sewer or the sewer inside of his body giving him issues. Yeah.
Oh, it's actual sewer.
Maybe here, like either every Wednesday. Again, more vulgarity, but lots of good
Just before
stats.
warning to people, being I live in Michigan, sewage problems could most definitely happen again.
Yeah, but we'll cover a lot of big stories and throw all kinds of stuff in there. Because again, there's only when there's two of us, it's way easier to go over stuff and better conversation than just listening to the sound of my voice. Because since I started listening to myself back, I proved why I don't like listening to myself back, because the sound of my voice hurts my brain. So I don't know how none of y'all do that, but yeah, next week we can get into we'll get into whatever minimum wages, and then again we talk about the idiocy about what they all want to do, and then
we should talk about this
plus.
consistent redistricting.
Yeah, and every time we can get into that too. Like we can cover something as simple as that. I mean, it's stupid, but it is very simple. Like
we had 2 wards for the actual city limits, and now we have 6 wards.
It's amazing, isn't it? But yeah, we can get into that, and we'll cover a bunch of stuff next week. So again, it's going to be on the same page. I'm putting it all in the Jesse Rucinski show stuff. It's just a special thing for Wednesdays, so I can get more stuff out. And it's easier. And it's still on all the same platforms. Videos are on YouTube, Rumble, Cloud Hub. I think that's all of them. Audio everywhere. Let's just go with that. The audio is everywhere, to include Reason, Good Pods. If you're on Good Pods, follow along on Apple, Google, Spotify, whatever your favorite.
And next week we will have more on Elon Musk and Twitter.
Oh, we will know. So be good to each other again, please. It's the first one. Share it out as much as you can. The videos, I'm going to put them all on the page on Facebook too. So find them, share them. Let's get this thing, boosting, because I think everyone will actually kind of dig hearing me just be normal me. Anyone that knows my mouth has probably been very alarmed the last couple months where I've been not losing my mind. So
numbers are a Chuck thing.
Yeah, I love numbers, and I haven't been cussing. That's really the big thing. Like, I haven't cussed. I know people are going, what the hell happened to him?
Don't forget to watch our racing show on Fridays.
Yep. Racing with Jesse Rucinski. All you people that, listen to it, that's a good one. We got a lot of stuff to cover tomorrow, too. There's racing all over the place, even though it's Easter weekend. So we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow on Racing with Jesse Rucinski. So check that out. Share it out. Have a good rest of your day. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt anyone else. And until next Wednesday, hopefully, because I know Wednesdays with Walter on a Thursday. I get it. Don't worry. I get it. We'll be back then and the racing show tomorrow. So be good to each other, and peace.